John Steinbeck. Summary of the Grapes of Wrath. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. On a dusty road among the cornfields of Oklahoma, a man in his 30s walks. That's Tom Joad. After serving time in prison for accidental murder, he returns home to his farm. He is getting out of prison early and therefore is not allowed to leave the state. Joad's extended family must be waiting for him at the farm, his grandparents, his father and mother, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Along the way Tom meets former Jehovah preacher Jim Casey. The two of them continue on their journey together. But what Tom doesn't know yet is that the farmers are being driven off their plots. The owners now find it unprofitable to lease the land. A tractor will work the field much faster than a few farm families. People are willing to defend land they consider their own. But who to shoot? The tractor driver who plows your yard? Or the director of that bank that owns the land? And the people are forced to comply. Tom is horrified to see the empty yard and the house tumble to the side. A neighbor who happens to be passing by tells him that the Joads are getting ready to leave for Uncle John's farm. Tom and Casey head there. The family welcomes Tom with joy. The next day, in a small used truck, the whole family sets off. Preacher Casey rides with them. They head for California, hoping to find work and housing there, as promised in the flyers sent out everywhere. As they pull onto the main highway, their truck joins the stream of refugees heading west. On the road, the Joads meet husband and wife Wilson. During one of the stops in the Wilsons' tent, Joad's old grandfather dies. He is buried right beside the road. Tom and younger brother Al help the Wilsons fix the car, and the two families continue on their journey together. The whole country seems to be fleeing west from some enemy. When one family makes a halt, several more always stop nearby. At night, worlds emerge along the highway with their own laws, rights, and punishments. The man who has food feeds the hungry. The cold man is warmed. A family in which someone dies finds a handful of coins near the tent in the morning. And as one moves toward the west, these worlds become more and more perfect and well appointed because the builders have experience. This is where the transition from I to we begins. Western states are worried, some change is near. Meanwhile, 500,000 people are moving along the roads, another million are anxious, ready to move at any minute, 10 million more are just showing signs of anxiety. And tractors are plowing furrow after furrow across the desolate land. The closer you get to California, the more often you find people on the road running in the opposite direction. They say terrible things. That there are a lot of people over there, not enough jobs, pittance that you can't even feed yourself on. But the hope that the country depicted in the advertisement, white houses among green gardens, does exist, leads people onward. Finally, after overcoming a long journey together, the Joads and Wilsons reach California. After crossing the mountains, they stop at a river. A final, arduous crossing across the desert lies ahead. Then the older brother, Noah, suddenly refuses to go on and, without saying goodbye to anyone, goes down the river, near which, he says, there is always food to eat. People have not yet had time to rest properly, and the sheriff already appears near the tents. He tells everyone to get out of there. In the evening, the Joads leave to cross the desert at night, while the sun is out. The Wilsons stay. Wilson's sick wife is unable to drive on. While crossing the desert, the Joads' grandmother dies. She is buried in the town of Bakersfield at public expense. The Joads arrive in California with only about $40, and they do not have enough money for a good funeral, which Granny dreamed of. The fertile country is greeted hostilely by crowds of hungry nomads. The proprietors arm themselves with a rifle and a pickaxe, preparing to defend their property. Wages are falling. People, hungry for work, ready to do anything to feed their children, fill all the roads. And their minds begin to roam with rage. The Joads stop at a roadside camp called Hooverville. Here the family is abandoned by Coney, husband of Tom's sister Rosa Cerrone. Pregnant Rosa takes his departure hard. On this day, a contractor appears in Hooverville, hiring laborers to pick fruit. He is accompanied by the sheriff's understanding men. One young man demands documents from the contractor. The witnesses immediately accuse him of red agitation and try to arrest him. A scuffle ensues, which involves Tom. To keep Tom out of trouble with the police, Preacher Casey takes the blame. The men take him away with them, promising goodbye to set fire to the camp. Late in the evening, the Joads leave. They move south to look for the Widpetch government camp they heard about in Hooverville. People speak well of the government camps. It's self-governing, and the police don't go there. There's even hot water. You can feel like a human being there. At night, a group of armed men stops them and demands that those damned Okies, i.e. Oklahomans, drive in any other direction. Tom turns the truck around, barely restraining himself from putting up a fight. As they wheel down country roads, the mother tries to reassure Tom. She says that one should not worry about these people, for the people cannot be destroyed, they will live forever. Tom is surprised by her reasoning. The government camp is really a great place to live. But there are no jobs in the surrounding area. People are trying to figure out what to do in order to live as a human being. Agitators appear among them, urging them to form unions, to stick together, because the authorities can only fight against loners. The land is good in California. In a vintage year, the branches bend under the weight of the fruits pouring their juice and the vines are heavy with bunches of grapes. But purchase prices are too low. Small farmers can't always harvest, they don't have the money to pay for harvesting even at the lowest price. Only large proprietors with canneries can survive. And the crops are rotting, and the smell of decay hangs over the country. And children are dying of malnutrition because the food is rotting on purpose. Mountains of fruit burn, drenched in kerosene. Potatoes are thrown into rivers. People come to pick up food, but guards chase them away. Both in the eyes and in the souls of hungry people heavy bunches of anger are poured and ripe, and they will not ripen for long. Soon the Joads leave Widpetch. They drive north in search of work. Unexpectedly, policemen on motorcycles block their way and offer them work. The car turns off the highway, and Tom is surprised to see workers standing along the road, chanting something. Accompanied by motorcyclists, the Joad's truck, along with other cars, pulls into the gate of the fruit pickers' camp. The whole family begins to work at picking peaches. After working all day, they only earn their own supper. Prices in the local shop are much higher than elsewhere, but the seller is not the owner of the shop, he too is only a hired laborer, not he who sets the prices. When the mother takes her groceries from the shop, she does not have enough money for sugar. She tries to persuade the shopkeeper to let her borrow it. In the end, he gives her the sugar by putting his own money in the register. As she leaves, her mother tells him that she knows for sure that she should only go to poor people for help, they are the only ones who can help. In the evening, Thomas goes out to wander around the camp. Seeing a lonely tent, he approaches it and finds Preacher Casey there. Casey tells Tom about his prison experiences. Prison, Casey believes, is mostly for the good people who are forced by need to steal, all evil in need. The laborers in the camp, Casey explains, are on strike because wages are exorbitantly reduced, and the Joads and those who came along with them find themselves in the role of scabs. Casey tries to persuade Tom to speak at the camp to the workers so that they too will go on strike. But Tom is sure that the people, who are hungry and finally getting some work, will not go for it. Suddenly, the workers hear sneaking footsteps. Tom and Casey leave the tent and try to hide in the dark, but run into a man armed with a stick. It is Casey who is wanted. Calling him a red bastard, the stranger strikes and Casey falls dead. Unaware of himself, Tom snatches a stick from his enemy and beats him as hard as he can. The senseless body falls at Tom's feet and Tom manages to escape, but he too is wounded, his nose is broken. All the next day, Tom does not go outside. From conversations in the camp, it becomes known that the man Tom beaten is dead. The police are searching for the murderer with the mutilated face. The strike is called off, and the wages are immediately cut in half. Nevertheless, people in the garden fight for the right to work. 10-year-old Winfield falls ill from malnutrition. Rose Cerrone is about to give birth. The family must find a good place. After hiding Tom among his belongings at the bottom of the truck, the Joads make it safely out of the camp and take the country roads. Toward nightfall, they come across an ad for cotton pickers. They stay, settling in a freight car. The pay is good, enough not only for food, but also for clothes. All the while, Tom hides in the bushes by the river, where his mother carries his food. But one day little Ruth, playing with her peers, blurts out that her big brother has killed a man and is hiding. Tom himself already thinks that staying in this position is dangerous for him and for the whole family. He plans to leave and do what the late Casey, who went from preacher to agitator, did, raise workers to fight. The cotton harvest is ending. There will be no work now until spring. The family has no money left at all. The rainy season begins. The river bursts its banks, and the water begins to flood the wagons. The father, Uncle John, and a few others try to build a dam. On this day, Rosa Cerrone gives birth to a dead child. The river breaks the dam. Then the mother decides to go somewhere drier. After walking along the road for a while, they see a barn on a hill and rush there. In the barn lies a man dying of hunger. The boy, his son, pleads in desperation to save his father. The mother looks questioningly into the eyes of Rosa Cerrone, whose breasts are swollen with milk after childbirth. Rosa understands her gaze, silently lies down next to the dying man, pulls his head to her breast, and her face lights up with a mysterious, happy smile.